Hey everyone, welcome to X Marks the Pod, the podcast for treasure hunters by treasure hunters. It's me, Jaws, with my co-host Megan and HT, Habeas Treasuress. And special guest tonight, we have content creator, treasure hunter, awesome guy in general, Mr. Matthew Hobbies. Say hi, everybody.
Hey, how's it going?
So tonight, we're going to talk some There's Treasure Inside, some clues with Mr. Hobbies, and just get to know him in general as a hunter, as a content creator, things he's looking for, things he's doing, just his spin on some of the clues. We got a lot going on in the treasure hunting community, I feel like, in the last week. So, uh, Megan, tell us what's been going on with you.
So I've been traveling, I've been absent in and out of our podcast, trying my best to join everyone, but it seems the places that I choose are so rural that I can't get a signal. So tonight I drove an hour to from my daughter's house to my best friend's house to try to get a signal. And so hopefully I hang in for the whole show. But my daughter lives in rural Missouri. She's in a heavily Amish community right on the Iowa border. And so cell signal is nothing, absolutely no internet in their home. And so we're waiting on her to have a baby. And so that's why I'm here. And hopefully that doesn't happen while we're live tonight.
And for those of you that don't know, that is not a virtual background behind Megan. She is, in fact, in a house that looks that amazing.
And I came to
Oh,
Warsaw, Illinois, and found a Pokemon that uh, is a very big clue. So as soon as we get off of here, I'm gonna like scour his entire house. Maybe he knows he has the box. Who knows?
Well, I think you're safe because he said there's going to be no Bouffalont, and you got one right above you, so it's not going to be there.
Uh, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
All right, Habeas, what's been going on with you? I saw you put out a new video yesterday.
I did. I made the mistake a couple of weeks ago. Long story short, I went to the dermatologist. She gave me some sort of face cream that was supposed to remove any kind of like precancerous cells. And then she gave me the advice not to go out into the sun. And then I went boots on the ground, in the sun. And I had one of those bucket hats on. And so like from my eyes up, totally fine. And then I had like a hood up to try to like block, but apparently my nose was exposed. And so I spent the last like week and a half hiding my nose from any kind of light and trying to get the sunburn to go down. It's terrible, terrible. I look like somebody, I couldn't decide if I looked like I'd tried to get plastic surgery and it went terribly wrong, or if I got into a fight and lost. But everywhere I went, people were like, doing that. So anyway, I finally healed up enough to do a video. And so I put out the video yesterday. I was excited to get that one out there about the Mewtwo. Both
Yeah,
my
I know
bugs.
you've been talking about that one for over a week and wanting to get it done, so I'm sure that was just driving you crazy.
My advice to people out there is like if a doctor tells you something, they know. Listen to them. Don't come up with your own rules just because you want to go try to find like a medallion somewhere in Utah. So
Well, I just flew home Sunday night. This weekend was the treasure hunter meet and greet in North Carolina. I got to hang out with Jam and Emma. A bunch of amazing, awesome people came out for it. One of the most exciting things to me was before we got together for the meet and greet, I got to go metal detecting on the side of a mountain in the Appalachian Mountains with Emma and Jam and some other people. Uh, some cool finds. Not sure what some of them are yet. They're going to clean them up and we're going to try to figure it out. One thing looked like it was a Civil War era axe head, so that was a really cool find by a stream I found buried. So I'm excited for that, and they've invited us to come back and treasure hunt on the property again and do some more metal detecting after they clear some more property. So we know there was Civil War activity there, so I'm hoping that there's an old homestead up on the hill behind where we were searching that you can't get to yet. So that's the most exciting thing to me, looking for some buried coins maybe in a homestead, just get some fun out there. So special thanks to everybody that let us search on their property. Salt Face Mule let us do the meet and greet there. Great time there. Great place if you're ever in Nashville, North Carolina. Go check it out. Great food, great beer if you're a beer drinker. If you're not, other stuff.
What's the
Uh,
ground like there? Like, what's the soil like for digging in North Carolina?
it nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, we had a really cool shovel made by Nokta that they sell that did a really great job. Like it was like triangle shaped, and you could just dig in like 4 times and make a circle and just pop the plug straight out of the ground, and then just reach down in the hole, search for whatever you're searching for. We put a handheld metal detector down in the ground, and then when you're done, after you find whatever you find, you just pick up the plug and pop it right back in, and looks good as new.
After
Wow.
digging in Illinois, black dirt, and then moving to Arkansas and trying to dig through the red rock, it's a whole different game. So I was wondering if the dirt in North Carolina is similar.
All right. Sorry, I was just talking to some people in the live stream chat. They had a question about videos, so I just let them know Jam and Emma did record all of it. Uh, Super cool. Emma has those new Meta glasses that record everything. So she followed us around everywhere with the glasses recording and recorded all the finds. Uh, Emma's husband recorded everything with the phone, so they're going to have a ton of content coming out. I was more of the participant getting to metal detect and dig some holes, so you'll get to see the videos from their side. All right. So
That's awesome.
Matthew, tell our channel all about yourself. Like what got you into treasure hunting? Like what's your favorite thing about it? Anything about treasure hunting in general that
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can start with, my father, I think, was pretty similar of like hobbies, enjoy doing a lot of different things. He was a little more specific into certain ones. So like we would do letterboxing, which was similar to like geocaching. It's a little more like, here's some directions, go this way, that way, this way. One of the things he was the most into actually was scuba diving. So there's a thing like letterboxing or geocaching, but with certain lakes. Like there's people who either found interesting things or hid interesting things or a combination of both. Like one example was there's the best place here in Minnesota where I'm at is called Crosby Ironton, and it was an old iron mine. And it's a unique like 30 to 50 feet of visibility in a lake versus most lakes around here are, you're lucky if you can see a foot or two, like you can see your feet when you're wading in. So it's just super clear and beautiful, very cold, but there's like a boat that was submerged, and then someone put what I believe was a fake skeleton. It had sunglasses on it. I assume it was. Maybe it was real. I think who knows? But it was just fun to like scuba dive and then have this like, okay, I'm gonna try to find the boat with the skeleton with these. But it was an interesting, I guess, thing to do. He did a lot more like cave diving, splunking association. He has the title of scuba master. I'm just an open advanced water scuba diver. But anyway, doing stuff like that was fun. We even had a metal detector that we would use. Unfortunately, with that one, we tried using it. We were really excited, but everything, like literally everything was like iron or it would just go, it would go off everywhere. So we got all the gear ready and then it worked too well, if you will. But I don't know. So there's a lot of that, and I think I always enjoyed that. Board games was another thing. I really liked puzzles, and just kind of figuring out like strategy within it. And I think it was around COVID when I heard of these armchair treasure hunts. It was like a random like BuzzFeed or some sort of article that was on The Secret. And I was like, oh, this is super interesting. It was like 15 like mysteries that haven't been solved that will surprise you or whatever. And one of them was on The Secret. I was super interested in that and kind of went in, deep dive into that. Tried to find a copy of a book, realized that people just have the images. You don't need the other reprints, all the different things there. And then there was a 13th hunt that was put out by one of the searchers. It's still going on even. It was the tribute hunt where they got the artist's son to do an image and then pairs it with a verse. So I spent a lot of time on that one, and it seems like it's in, oh, what was it? I think it was Kentucky, I believe, Louisville, or I think that's not how you're supposed to say it. I think there's more O's
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, Megan will. Sorry. Midwesterner. But any case, so I really like that. And then I think on that Discord, or it was Jenny somewhere, heard about the tribute, or excuse me, TTI, and was like, oh, here's one that's like actually starting. And one of the things that I don't think I'd ever do is like dig for something on the land that you know you're not supposed to dig on, which is a big thing of the secret. It'd be fun to solve it, but you never truly know unless you go out there and dig, which most parks don't really like that, at least these ones
Mhm.
that people have been digging for 40 plus years. So it just kind of came at a cool time and kind of went from there. I guess how I actually became, or like doing this online, so to speak, or more publicly. Um, every year I kind of declare some sort of hobby that I want to try out. So like scuba diving was one. I got up to advanced water. I did one on like nature's survivalist type of stuff. So kind of reading books, learning about different things you can eat and not eat in the wilderness. One was on music, and so I kind of learned on putting music out and like those. Another one was like nerdy, like spreadsheets, things like that. But I just try to like focus all my time and energy onto that. I work in education, so I have a lot of more time in the summer normally. This one's a little busier now, but so I just would spend the time there. And one of them, I was like, well, I'm going to do YouTube, and made one on technology and some of those spreadsheets and other things I enjoyed. And then I made like a one-off video on treasure hunting, and it was kind of in this weird time where, I mean, I was putting videos out a ton, and it's like, oh, cool, like 10 people watch, that's awesome, or like, wow, 100, that's crazy. And then I had one that I think just the right time, or I don't know, and was like in the like 20,000s, which is just like insane. And then I think I somehow at that time also put one out on TTI, and then that one went like surprisingly crazy. I mean, it was in the what 100 times more than all of my other videos would do. And then it was like, wow, this was actually kind of fun. And then it ended up slowly, that channel was like, put tech stuff out and like not very good metrics, put one out on treasure hunting, and more people were looking at that and messed up the algoro and that or whatever. YouTube didn't like me for a bit. And then was like, well, I probably should split the channel, because I did that like taboo of, you know, some things you can get away with, but treasure hunt plus technology, it's even though there's some interesting ways you can use it. But yeah, so that kind of was where I split the channel, or rather just made two channels, and I've really just enjoyed doing that. It's fun with the community, and looking forward to, I think it's the Treasure Con that's coming up next year. I at least got tickets, and I have a hotel room. I need to get a plane ticket, but excited to actually meet people, hopefully, provided it all works out and I can be there. But yeah, I think that was a long-winded answer, but that's kind of the background to now. So hopefully a little bit. Feel free if there's questions on any of those little.
I, I've got a follow-up. Is there like a hobby on the horizon that you haven't tackled yet that you're thinking about getting into?
Yeah, I like that. So the one, let's see, it was 2 years ago. I feel like I kind of did treasure hunting 2 years in a row now, which, breaking my own rules that I made up. But I've liked doing pixel art, and I have friends who actually have made video games and stuff. So it's on the docket to learn a little more about coding and hopefully put out some sort of video game thing eventually. Now, that's not going to be a 1 year sort of thing, but I'm hoping to either, that would be one that's on the horizon that I would love to do. I know like other ones, it's like every time I add something else, it's like I kind of do less and less of the other ones, but a lot of them still continue on. Like YouTube, I'm still doing YouTube. I still really like spreadsheets and kind of incorporate it here and there. But in case, I think it would be cool to be able to like design that, because it has a lot of the different elements, and who knows, maybe add a puzzle or something in there too if I get on there, or some little Easter eggs on the hunt or other things. So that's one I would love to do. I know it's way more ambitious than the other stuff that I've declared as a hobby, and but I have some connections. We'll see.
Nice.
What
Hey,
type of
so
what
uh,
type of education are you in?
Yeah, so I am elementary education with a middle school science emphasis. So I can basically teach anything kinder to sixth grade, and then up to eighth grade middle school science. That said, I did transition during COVID again into technology. So I'm the technology coordinator now. I was just always like the techie teacher, and kind of just, there was like we need to get 1,000 new devices for our kids, and we don't have someone that in a role like this. We know you're good with tech. Do you want to help out? And there's like two of us on a team, and then like this summer is the first summer where I'm now like the lead. But I don't know why I'm doing like quotes. I am the lead tech coordinator. Lead. I mean, so it's just a more responsibilities this year. So I'm a little more like, oh, I got to get these things ready to go for this next school year. But yeah, so I really like it. My mom's side of the family is like principals, math teachers, technology even too. They're in Indiana more so, and so a little different areas, but I guess it's in our blood maybe. I don't know, but it's I don't know, very fun if you like working with young people. If you don't, it's not a very good gig.
All right.
I of
So,
course have my kids at home and I teach at a nature school. And so like I'm always
Oh,
trying
fun.
to like get the kids' input, like, hey, help me out with this. Let me just tell you a little story and
Yeah.
see if you can think of anything. Like, are you including your kids? Are they old enough or even your kids at school help out with the treasure hunt or their brainstorm with them?
Yeah. So my kids, they're going to be kinder and pre-K, and they are actually going to the school that I'm going to, which is great. They know of some of the stuff. Like I'm like, all right, I'm going to record a video now. You guys have to, play quietly or things like that. But they haven't yet gotten to that age to be able to. Though my son who's going to be in kindergarten is getting close to reading, but he likes some of the pictures and stuff. We did do like scavenger hunts, which were pretty fun. What was it? It was for Easter. I did like a little map with images of like, all right, you're gonna start here, and then like a picture of the car. They know our cars, and then like hid things there, and then go to this next place to then find an Easter egg, which was surprisingly fun. I mean, it was very basic, like for younger kids to be able to do, but I don't know. Those are the things that are fun, and they love nature. So it's whenever we can get out, and there's a lot of nature centers that have, like different scavenger hunts or geocaches or, things like that too. So it's fun to get out, and do things at their level.
all right. So I'm gonna throw this out there because I think we're all missing this opportunity. We're gonna rebrand your channel and we're gonna call it Hobbies Hobbies.
Hobbies, hobbies.
And you can set up individual playlists so you could have one dedicated to the spreadsheets, one dedicated to treasure
Mm.
hunting. And when you split them into the individual playlists, those people will get the tags on those. So,
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. And that was exactly what I was thinking of. Like, what is a good, I mean, that's a better one. What's a good channel that I can explore all these different things? Granted, I'm sure some people might be interested in a little pixel art here or there, or video game, whatever. But yeah, it not as drastic as my here, all about technology. And surprise, here's, I tried to incorporate it. Like, I think my first one was solving the like cryptogram with a spreadsheet that I made, which was very unnecessary. There's way better tools online, but it was a fun little project that you can do in spreadsheets. But in any case, I like that. Hobbies, hobbies. We'll talk. Get some
yeah.
branding.
All right. So we did get a couple questions in the live chat. So gonna throw these out.
Yep,
Anyone feel free to answer, not just you, Matthew, because that's good
perfect.
TTI info. The first one we got was, what do y'all feel like about the importance of the Olympics and There's Treasure Inside?
Hmm. I think
Habeas looks like he's in deep thought on it.
I'm one of these people who goes back and forth on the Olympics. I see the Olympics talked a lot about in on the Discord, and so I always have it in the back of my mind as a possible theme throughout. And I know folks have drawn the Olympic rings on a map and said, "Hey, each ring represents one of the five treasures," which logically makes sense. And he's got a couple of chapters that deal with the Olympics, so that makes sense. I think in my latest video, I tried to tie in the Omega watch brand is the official sponsor of the Olympics, and I had an Omega line of thinking, and so I was like, oh, well, throw it in there because it's the Olympics. But I don't know. I haven't fully subscribed to the idea that he used the rings to segment the areas of the country, but I'm trying to keep an open mind. I may be wrong on that, but I do think there's obviously something to do with the Olympics. But it feels it feels a little bit over the top, if that sounds right. Like everything is so obscured I feel like inside there's treasure inside. I'd be surprised if the Olympics, um, because it's so front and center in the book, that it would be the overarching theme that we're supposed to find. I'll stop there.
I like the idea of each of the color portions of the rings, that the boxes may be sorted, by the colors that he draws out throughout the chapters.
Yeah, I definitely like that too. I think there was, I forget who came up with that idea or where. I think it was the unofficial that showed it, but it was kind of crazy of like the blue chapter, I think was one, and like the gold chapter for two with the golden rings. Like all of that seemed like impressive in that. I, it's hard for me to, I guess it's like the most obvious thing was that we've seen is like the Washington and Olympics part, not like national park to make the connection. And while that does seem like a very strong one, because there are two different treasure items that are Olympics, I believe he was saying he was most excited for one of those two, or like that was one of the ones I think in an interview. Someone in the chat, please correct me if I'm wrong. And then just also that crazy weird chapter 21 also on like Olympics or discuss it. It's like there's so many parts to it, but I think I'm a little less on the like all of them are super connected in that way. Or honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he just put the Olympic rings in there and like probably cost some money, but like just did it because like John kind of seems after the Froki, after he did the Froki, it's just like we could be thinking hours on this thing and then like, oh yeah, it's just the Olympic rings, guys, come on. But I don't know. That's kind of mine. I'm a little less on it, but it also could be that there isn't really a good I don't have a good connection to it, so therefore I'm like, nah, it's not that.
What's that, like the reverse of confirmation bias,
Yeah.
confirmation unbias?
Yep.
All right. So then we got one more question right now from Todd. How are you using the coins in your solve, and when do you think they play a role in the solve?
All right.
Oh,
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh,
Oh.
rock, paper, just kidding. I was gonna say I honestly haven't really been using the coins that much. I like the ideas that are out there. I think that they're all, when they're being used, will be different. Like, maybe it's a state border, something else, for, some of the other boxes to orient it. But I don't know, and that might get me in trouble too. But if anything, I was pretty early on thinking it was going to be for the lion's share somehow, and like potentially part of the clue that he gives out, like, oh hey, this is, and then like gives us some fact that like blows our mind. It's like, oh, it's this, and like we're not able to understand it until after a solve or after a box is found. But I think also thinking that way is going to limit. So, open to other things too. It's just as of now, that's where I'm at.
I actually like that. I mean, I like the idea that the coin doesn't make sense until you found the box. That would be pretty funny. And then it would be the go along with the laminated clue. I I thought it seemed like from the answers he gave at the last TreasureCon that the coin design was created where he probably had the spot in mind that he was going to hide the treasure, but I don't think it was actually like scaled out to be exactly where he placed it on a trail or in relation to something. So I've been looking at them as they're commemorative, meaning that wherever the box is found, the coin should make sense, kind of high level. And so the Pokemon box coin for me looks like a golf flag. So I'm like, oh, it could be in a place where there's some golf that's played. This last week, when I was doing my latest video, I started trying to put the coins all together and try to create something. And back to the Omega watch design, I learned about this thing called watch encasements, which I didn't understand because I'm not very mechanical. But basically, it's the inner workings of the watch and how it keeps time. And a lot of the pieces of some of these watch encasements looked almost identical to like the little designs on the coins. So that got me excited. I was like, oh, I could see this all being part of like some sort of weird machine. And you know how like there's always those rich people stereotypes, and I hope I don't offend JCB, but like anytime I run into like somebody that's really wealthy, they're always so happy to show me their watches, and I'm like, I got an Apple Watch that seems to do a lot more than whatever your $10,000 watch does, but I could see where if somebody is caught up in that, high wealth, net wealth, and worth environment, maybe some of these like fancy cars and pretending like you're James Bond or Batman and you got the fancy watch. Like I could see that maybe being a theme somehow if he's a collector, which I don't think he is, but you never know.
Mhm.
I have to just say that I think the opposite of you, Matthew, that I think all of the coins, if we're gonna use them, I have no idea how to use them. I'll start with that. No
Yeah.
idea, not using them. But I think we have to use them all the same way. I don't think each
Ooh.
box is gonna be used differently.
Then, yeah, I guess the one that made me question that was all you need is the map. Do you think that somehow is with the map, or like, I mean, because it totally could be like an obvious, like, well, yeah, and the coin. But like, do you think that that would be like maybe one of the three solves, or do you think, I guess, do you think it would be required with it?
Well,
Or,
like we've always said that he says all you need is the map,
yeah,
but maybe this helps also. Like you only
yes,
need it, but these are also bonus info.
yep, no, that's fair. And I think maybe that's where my perspective has started, was from that. It's also just like they're so different. So it's like, how can, like, I if they all lined up really well with states or something like that, I'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But we'll see. It is interesting because I mean, I say that's where I believe, but I still look at them and, still have to keep it in the back of my mind because I don't have a good reason of it's not, outside of it just feels like it could be, or even the like shimmering circles of gold, because it was that line in Joy Serenade was like, or simply follow. So that was kind of my thought of like, maybe that has something to do when boxes are found, a clue is given, you can follow those instead somehow. But that's again just kind of some early on thoughts that I had and have kind of just stuck with it because I guess I've liked them so thus far, but
So I'll throw just a little bit of my theory on them out there. I don't want to give away too much.
yeah.
I do think I agree with Megan. I think they are all used in the same general way. And I think when used properly, they can tell you that you're in the right area to look for the box. But I don't believe they're a map that's going to take you to the box like some people do. I think
Mm.
they're used in a different way, but I'm not ready to drop that out there yet.
No, that's fair. So like the state border, like potential Nevada one, like you think it should be used differently than that. Got it.
Correct. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
it's the state border.
No, and that makes sense. And really I feel
Yeah,
like that's the most solid one, that's solid one. I can use quotes that time.
Yeah.
that I've liked, that I've seen, like, wow, that seems like a solid match. Or like the golf, of course. And then sorry, Megan,
the
I think
way
I
the way I've been using it just for Pokemon, because that's the only one that I've been boots on the ground. Um, after I've decided it's in Arkansas, after I decide it's in BNR or Eureka Springs or wherever, and then after I choose a trail, then on the trail system, it tells the spot that you should then start grid searching. So
mm,
if my trail on the, all trails goes like this, and then it comes to a point where it's like that, well,
yep.
then I know that's the segment of the trail where I need to focus in grid
Yeah.
searching.
Do you think the circle is the end, or is that the start?
Yeah, I
Or
don't know.
maybe.
Yeah, I've debated on that like a million times. Is the circle the exact spot, or is that when I need to start looking? So I guess it just depends on if you're going north or south or east or west, when you're
Yep.
hiking and the way that that angle lines up in the system.
Yeah.
And so then I always am trying to plan my hike. Like we went to one place and it just made sense to go northeast. And I was like, well, he went southwest. He went southwest, so we're gonna have to hike this trail backwards and make sure that the clues are lining up as we're going in that direction and not this direction. So it all that I just always keep that in my mind in case that's how it's being used. But like I said, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So Alex asked a question that kind of goes with my theory on what the coins are. Uh, Says, do you guys believe JCB used anchor points to let a searcher know that they're in the right place searching? That's exactly what I think the coins are used for in my theory. So if you're in the right place, something's gonna match up right with the coin.
Hmm.
So what do you guys think? Is there any other things he could have possibly used to let you know you're in the right place?
I mean, I feel like it depends on each box too, or just the puzzles that he has. I feel like for me, I'm looking for state. I feel like focused on a lot of the words or things like that as points. And I mean, obviously there's some images too, like the Pokemon image. I feel like that's a pretty big like anchor, if you will. Um, but just his how much he word plays things. I mean, specifically the Pokemon box too. And I mean, my thought is still somewhere by Eagle Mountain, or is it Eagle Loop?
Eagle Rock Loop.
I should know the name. That's the one.
Yeah. Eagle Rock Loop.
Yeah, but I know there's so many parts like it seems like it's a harder trail. I've never been on there. I think Megan, you said you have been there
My
and you know it,
yeah, my husband
right?
and daughter hiked it through. I've not been there, but my husband and
Okay.
daughter hiked it through.
Because I've heard it's like pretty hard. And
Yeah.
obviously you wouldn't do the like 20 something ones, but like I don't know, him talking about the eagles in both. I feel like the middle rock thing kind of looks like an eagle in the rock. So, but any case, I feel like those are some of the anchor points that I try to put is like some sort of word thing. And if there's something on the image, if there is an image included, kind of using those. But I do like that. Like you have to, because what you were saying, Jaws, like when you're there, when you have a spot that it can help confirm it with, because yeah, if I see something with like a similar shape in a park that I'm looking at, like to me, that would be like 100% it's here, and you'd just be so excited because they're very specific.
If I ever make it out for the Lion Share box, I know that my starting point is going to be in a cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
and there's going to be a chain link fence, and I'm going to hear dogs barking, or I'm not
Yeah.
going to even start.
Mhm.
Matthew, I got a
What do
question
we,
for you.
Yeah.
All right, so you've put out a video, I think, on every chapter in every box, right?
Yes, I think so now. Yes.
Out of all of that, what would you consider what's your favorite chapter or box at this point?
Oof. It's a great question. I feel like depending on when you ask me, it's different results. I feel like I put so much on the past and future, and then I think like a lot of people got like roadblock, stop, like need a break from it. So like that was definitely my earliest one. Um, as for, I mean, boxes specifically, I feel like the Appalachian Trail is the coolest box itself. Like, and I know that's not exactly what you're talking about, but those are my trains of thoughts. Chapters. There's, it's hard to say which one. I feel like the chapter 8 or 9, just because it feels like there are so many clues in it. Like I'll have to maybe say chapter 9 because I think that's the -90 that we know is a clue. I feel like the AI image with the candlelight service is interesting. There's so many little things in that one. Like I guess that to me is like one of the top clue type ones, but also one of the weird ones too. Just like so many things going on. But I don't know, that one I really like. I think. I like the space one a lot too. Just mostly the story, and I think the meteorite hunting is that sounded super cool. But I would I'd say those ones, which would be my top ones. I don't know if
Well, I was gonna follow up on past and future real quick. I went down this I don't know what's called a rabbit hole, but I went down an exercise this past weekend when I was shielding my face from any kind of light, and I was thinking to myself, I go, okay, I spent a lot of time on the Pokemon box, and I feel like, at least for me, I found some clues that tell me where to begin with the Pokemon box. And I put out some videos on it. I won't get into all that, but I was thinking then, all right, I should be able to find a starting point using similar logic or like a similar approach with some of these other boxes. So I went back to the past and future and I said, all right, I should be able to sit here with my book and figure out what state to start in for this. And so I used the similar thought process to Pokemon, where I said, all right, it's going to be right at the beginning. There's got to be something in that opening paragraph that or page that tells me which state to begin. And I got nowhere. So I'm curious, from your point of view, spending a lot of time on past and future, do you feel like there is a clue that you've found that tells you the state?
Yes and no. I mean, I think he intentionally made that very open because he wanted like, if he gave the exact location of all of the treasures except for the lion's share, I feel like it's there. I'm under the opinion that there's going to be one on the West Coast and then one in the Midwest. Now, that's I think me because I'm in the Midwest, but like at this point with the ones that are confirmed, like taking those two boxes out, there's not one really close to me. And granted, I'm on, Minnesota's in a I mean in the middle, but it's very far away from, there's one in the south, there's one way over there in the mountains and so there's ones around, like multiple ones, but to me those are like the two areas that need something. Again, it will depend with where the force spin is, but going off of that, it's kind of like in one of those two areas. And I feel like he conveniently talked about like California a lot and then kind of something bordering there. I mean, he has state divider in the word search. And then the thing that for me that's so hard is why does he have California over there, but also Ohio and then like North Carolina, South Carolina, like those. And the only thought I had is he intentionally made it kind of all over the place, but it's going to be in one of those states or on the border of it, since those are words around there. So at least for me at this point, starting with one of those, like you were saying, a starting point, and then moving to one of the dividers. So I think my most recent one, and I mean, I like the idea, but I haven't gotten past like much further outside of like, oh, this is interesting, is using the O's kind of like, there's 19 of them, kind of seems like Ready Player One. But if you use all of that, there's like, I should have made a little graphic here, but it's almost like Tetris pieces, and it's like the North Carolina, South Carolina, like those are kind of in one. And then the last O that I identified, because I just said this last one is OR, so that could be Oregon, and that would be, close in that area that I initially thought would be maybe one of the ones over there, and could be the like 19th egg, if you will, showing,
Mhm.
hey, that's where you need to go. And there's some, I mean, Reddit and other places, there's a lot of interesting theories over. I'm trying to remember which lake it was. I want to say Dream Lake, but I know that's wrong because that's
Is it Crater Lake?
Crater Lake. Yes, thank you.
Yep.
So I that one I know I explored some areas kind of in that area. But again, it's hard. I feel like there's a lot of things there, but then there's so many generic words like peaks and, having to figure out what the cryptogram actually means. Those are, I feel like there's just like two more clues that people need to solve and then we'll have it kind of thing. But there's so many ideas out there. It just,
So
needs
so I watched your video that you did on past and future, and I think what it really impressed me was you said, hey, the word search feels like it's Zork related, I think,
Mhm.
right? And because of the title of the word search, and then because it follows right after he starts talking about Ready Player One, and so that's all sort of a Zork solve. Where I
Yeah.
went with it was that Zork solve in Ready Player One dealt with the Captain Crunch um, serial whistle, the boson whistle from
Mhm.
Captain Crunch. I don't know if that's ringing any bells for people, but
Yes.
that was where Zork fed into Ready Player One. And then earlier in the treasure book, John Collins Black talks about the blue box that Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak created. And again, that sort of ties into that boson whistle too, because that guy in real life that's called Captain Crunch that came up with that whistle was the same guy that sort of invented the technology or that frequency, I guess, to make those free long distance phone calls. Anyway,
Huh.
long story
Yeah.
short, I feel like John Collins Black has been hitting that whistle thing maybe multiple times. And so it seems like that could be the takeaway from the word search. And then 19 O's, um, I went with Cheerios because, instead of Captain Crunch, you got to find another breakfast cereal
Item. Yeah.
item. And then it blew my mind when I just typed in Cheerio, North Carolina in Google, and I found out that there's a legendary Camp Cheerio. And I was like, oh, well, that's probably his past, and part of the past and the future was, did John
Yeah.
Collins Black attend Camp Cheerio? And is
Hmm.
he reminiscing about his early childhood development the same way that Ernest Cline did in the Ready Player One thing? Anyway, long
Yeah.
story short, I loved what you did, and it confirmed my thought process around that word search is Zork related. I just went with Camp Cheerio.
Yeah. No, I like that. And yeah, it one of the things that bothered me was why do we use some of the words and not others? So kind of that was me trying to find a Zork way of like going through a dungeon and it has to be basically adjacent to everything. And most of the words were there. You have to kind of finagle a couple of them. So it's like, well, you could have made this better, I guess. But yeah, that's fascinating. Cheerio. Huh.
Look it up, guys. Camp Cheerio. I'm telling you, like swarm that place and you'll find the treasure.
Have you noticed, Matthew, that like if we talked about the coins and Jaws and I
Mhm.
think if you're going to use the coins before you find a box, then you've got to use them all the same way. Have you found that like in his writing styles, that he is going to tell us in each of the boxes where to launch from? So if you went from Pokemon and we use the line, "Are you okay, kid?" That's
Mm.
AR for Arkansas or OK for Oklahoma. That one sentence could tell us our launching point. Have you found that he might use that same um, sentence structure or writing style to tell us in the other boxes where to go from?
Oh, that's a great question. I know I kind of talked on the past and future here. Um, for that one, I mean, I took the like road trip kind of as one of the pointers for there. But yeah, totally with the like Arkansas, Oklahoma, Forest Fen. Honestly, I'm that one I don't know too much. I just did a video of like my first like, all right, I got to read this chapter and do it. Um, for me, the pointer for like I was putting the solve in for Colorado and it was just the seeing eye kind of verse because there's like that's in the flag, stuff like that. So that would almost be my launch. But word wise, I'd have to look if there's something else in that one. And then I mean Appalachian Trail's so hard because I feel like you don't need the chapter, so then the words wouldn't be an anchor point and it would almost be I mean, the trail itself almost seems like one of the biggest confirmers if it is in there or if it's something else. So I would say each one to me feels somewhat unique just based off of how different they are. But to your point, that is interesting that the Pokemon box specifically had it with the words. And then, I mean, even as I was saying with his story, I feel like a lot of the story in Past and Future seems California is kind of the big at least in the story portion. Again, the words are just
Mhm.
a little different. So apologies. That was a long-winded answer. So I would say probably I think they're mostly different, but it does seem like there could be. I'll have to reread.
What about the lion's share? Do you think is there a chapter that you've been able to identify or something that you think is okay, this is telling me that the lion's share is going to be in this state?
Yeah, I mean, state confirmers right now I finished my 23rd and I'm starting to do more and more in why it's in the state that I live in, which is very confirmation biasy, and I try to say that. However, it feels like for that one, it's almost like this giant Venn diagram of stuff that you have to do, like filters. And I think that there's a lot more like large areas that aren't necessarily one specific state. Like for example, if it's -90 or I-90, that would limit where it's at, but that still gives you, 10, 15, however many states doing stuff like that. Um, for that one or ones that I say it's Minnesota or whatever, like the giant like comically large cherry is a Minnesota statue that we have, which is a cherry on a spoon. So that was one that I liked, especially with a treasure item that is a, Washington jelly glass. You'd I would assume use a spoon with that, so that could be kind of this, you know, connection there. Um, the next one with the more about the treasure items, there's I think a few that kind of go with it, but how I've generally put like con clues together for the lion's share is that there's something that's a little unusual, and then there's something that points you to that. I've called them confirmers or pointers. So like, I mean, he talks about the Viking ring right before Joy Serenade, talks about a pike, and then how a pike is a fish, at least in the Invari's ring story, and then goes into it. And that's something, again, more of a larger area, but something that's pretty big for, Minnesota, I guess. It's also maybe if you, what is it? I hit it in one of my episodes, so I can just say it here in case you missed the hidden video thing that I put. I don't even remember how I did it, to be honest. I went in a little spree of hiding stuff, but chapter 9 with that AI mom and son image, there's like those weird like writing that looks like W and kind of like a N or something or an S. That chapter talks about using mirrors. It talks about using candlelight service. And so if you use a mirror or a candle on that, it actually does show MN, Minnesota, in it instead. Again, you could do, if you just look at it, it looks like WS, Washington State. So it's one of those ones that's kind of all over. But if he's pointing us to do something like that, it's a little interesting. And then I think it's next week that the more of the treasure items, but I have a little bit further on there. But just a teaser, if you will.
It's interesting. I hadn't thought of this before until you started talking about it. But how in the how to read this section of the book at the very beginning, the very first line is something around, if you, I'm going to mess it up because it's all this negative stuff, but it's like if you want to find our treasure, basically don't read this book front to back kind of thing. It's I should have had my book in front of me to quote it exactly. But anyway, it got me thinking that you're going to have to, the first step isn't going to be in chapter 1 necessarily, maybe.
Sure.
That the place that tells you where to start is going to be somewhere else. So I went to whatever the last chapter is, chapter 23, I guess. But to your point, maybe the more items is actually the back of the book. Like, so maybe the starting point is in the more treasure item, which would be very odd, but very cool if he starts the hunt in the very, very back of the book.
Yeah, which it is interesting. I mean, going through those, I'll have to see when that is because I am excited to bring that out, but I'm gonna whenever I forget when I scheduled that one. But it is wild how many, like, why did he do that was kind of one of the things that I talked on. Like, is he just showing off some of the cool items? Totally could be. Is he hiding clues that he couldn't put in the book for some reason? Or did he put them in that order intentionally the way that he did to be able to craft it, Like there's so many of those chapter 2 rings and stuff, like the ones that could totally be in chapter 2. So why did he put it there in the order that he did is kind of, which I feel like he did that intentionally and feels jam-packed, if you will. But I could also, again, he did Froki wrong, so I could just, oh no, I just put him in.
That's the get out of jail card.
Just crumbles.
All right, I've got my book here, so I'm going to read it. If you are someone with no interest in finding the physical treasures I have hidden, then reading this book should be a straightforward exercise. So it sounds like if you don't want to find the treasures, read the book straightforward, which means start at the first chapter. So yeah, I'm on board, Matthew. I think the start of the hunt is going to be in that last additional treasure item section.
Yeah.
Or in the acknowledgments.
I was gonna say acknowledgments.
Yeah.
That one random name like Joanna or whatever. Thanks for finding the North Star.
What?
The Minnesota is the North Star state. Just saying. And what was it? I think I forget if I said it. I'm sorry. Last one for now about Minnesota, but French connection too. It's the only state that has a French motto, which is like L'Étoile du Nord, or the Star of the North. So, if we're starting there, but who knows? It could also be a road trip. You start in a state, move out. Like that's not outside of the, But as of now, I'm kind of just doing this bigger filter, and I am probably looking for these things myself. So, I already know that I'm putting in more things in my Minnesota bucket and ignoring the coins and ignoring. So take it with consideration too, but uh, at least have an area I'd like to explore at some point and then rule it out most likely. But
So
It definitely
we've
needs
got
to be, oh, hold on. It definitely needs to be a question for JCB. Like, is this a road trip? Is the
mm,
lion's share a road trip? Do we
yeah.
have different states that we have to be traveling through, or do they all just point to one location?
Yeah, because there's so many, I mean, and there's so many solid that seem other states too, like so many videos that are so convincing and, 100% feel right, but it's like opposite side of the world, so it's,
Mhm. Hey, and JCB, if you and your people are watching right now, I know you're getting tired of my emails. Let's just schedule that interview, guys. Hit us up. So that way we can stop getting you an email every other month. So we've got a ton of questions in the
oh
chat.
Oh,
yeah.
Y'all honestly just did an amazing job of answering one of them without even being asked. We had a question about if we thought the More Treasures chapter had anything to do with the solve. Uh, but this I thought was an interesting one. Sorry, I'm going way back in the chat. We've been getting a ton of stuff. What do you think is the hardest chapter to make the clues make sense? I read it while y'all were going through that, so I've had time to think about it. So I'll give my answer, and then y'all can give yours. Uh, Past and future box, man, like blows my mind still. Like and he's said no one has solved all of the clues in there. He's never once said someone has been close to that box like he has with the Pokemon and the Appalachian Footpath. There's something to that chapter that I believe everyone is missing, or at least everyone that hasn't told JCB they're solving an email or something. So that's my take. I think the past and future box still to this day just has everyone confused. What do you guys think?
I think I haven't seen anybody really come up with anything compelling for the title, Past and Future, that
Mm.
ties, like that. That seems like a big miss. It seems like he's gone out of his way to title it that way, and I don't typically see people on Discord tying past and future into their solve.
Was this for the smaller boxes or just any chapter?
Any chapter.
Okay. I feel like, and that's just because I don't have any great stuff for it, is the chapter 6 or 10, like the Jackie Onassis or the rubies, the red ruby ones. I feel like they're super interesting, but they're just like nothing that stands out to me. Like if I was to say there's not a clue in any of them, which I was saying initially, it was like those ones, which I'm sure off and wrong, but they're those would be the ones that I'm like, I don't know what to do with this.
That's what I was going to say, Jackie Onassis, because there's definitely odd information in there. Like,
Hmm.
and the way the words that he specifically uses, the names he calls her husband, like
Yeah.
it isn't the common things that we all know. And so it should be the easiest for us to pick out the clues from because it's so odd, but no idea how to use them.
Hmm.
All right. So what do you guys think about the past and future box being in a state divided by a time zone?
That's a good
So
idea.
Yeah,
you've got the past and the future in the same state.
Mm.
I like that.
I've
Any
not.
other thoughts on that? That was from our chat too.
Does it,
Thank you,
you know that
chat.
I, you know that I struggle with time zones, Jaws. Is any
That's
of the
true.
states that like we think about that would, are headliners for that solve, are any of them in a state that's split by a time zone?
I would have to look. I never really researched that yet.
I feel like Indiana might have. I'm trying to. I think that something changed or recently within the last 10 years. I'd have to check. That's like some of my family's there, and I feel like there was something. Huh. But I guess that's not one that people are super going for. Maybe HT you did, right?
For
What's that?
Pokemon.
Indiana. No, that was
I
Pokemon,
did.
right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I was
Pokemon, big
thinking
time
for past
Indiana.
and future, but I was like, yeah. I guess I don't know, but that's an
It's a
interesting
great,
thought.
it's a great one to research. I mean, I think that would make sense with the title. And I like the fact that because it's the title, that I feel like again, he could, he's not I shouldn't say he should, but he could be front loading clues to tell you where to begin. And so if you're using the title to narrow it down dramatically by the time zone thing, that would be awesome. And that would fit with how I would do a treasure hunt where I'd want something up front to help you, you know,
And
focus.
that would align with Pokemon being chapter 25. So he's using the title, that first page telling us what state.
Hmm. Yeah,
Maybe.
Maybe.
All right.
maybe. Yeah. I like too
So
even the what is it? Over, under, and in between. I wonder if that somehow could relate to time or time zones or something there. Because to me, it almost seems like I thought of like if there's some way to like use a word with all of those that somehow, because he was saying if you're closer to the over than the under while still in between, it almost feels like a riddle versus a physical location like with it up and down. But I've yet to find a word or like what is time? But and that doesn't quite make sense, but it's
I mean,
interesting.
I like that, Matthew. And again, I just want to point out the obsession that phenomenally rich people have with watches.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the clock, can you be over under time? Not really. I guess that doesn't make sense for mine. But
And I
yeah.
use
the-
I used time for my last Pokemon solve because of the Alice Through the Looking Glass. The newest movie, Time is the main character and kind of aligns with one of the trail systems in Arkansas. So if time was the unbreakable thread, that would be amazing.
I mean, with the past and future here too, it's solved, right?
all
At that time. Huh.
right, guys. So when you find the past and future box, make sure you share it with us after we just talked about this. All right. So this was kind of a fun question from the chat. If you guys found one of the boxes, would you keep looking for more, or would you pick up a new hobby? Would there be a new hobbies, or what would be the next thing we would do?
Oh, I mean, if it's a smaller one and you get the clue for the lion's share, you can't not go for the lion's share.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
But
Would you share the clue, Matthew? Would you be putting it out there for everybody, or would you keep it close to the vest?
I mean, I feel like since I'm more outwardly with what I'm sharing, I would, but I also don't know to the extent of it. Like how big is this clue we're talking? So I as of now though, I'd say yes, but don't hold me accountable if I find a box and then don't. But no. Uh I mean he said he was gonna give out a clue too, so I assume they both. So yeah, I'd say I'm more on a yes for it.
Are you going to tell us that you have a box or are you going to stay anonymous?
I think I would say that I have it. I know it's not necessarily the best way to do it, but I feel like I'm already putting content out forwardly, so might as well. And you know that you're eventually going to be found out. Like people have their ways, so you might as well just be on top of it, let people know, have that front. At least is my thought.
Yeah, there would definitely be signs if I found a treasure box. You'd see me with like a nice new guitar, new
New
car.
watch.
Yeah, I'll have a watch like Habeas's people he's talking
Yep.
about.
Matthew, one more question about if you found the box,
Yeah.
do you trust your students enough to bring the box in for show and tell and let them touch the items, or are you thinking that's a bad idea?
Ooh. I mean, I feel like no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't trust
Good idea. All
kids.
right.
I feel
Yeah.
like I would almost want to, oh, I don't know, it's weird. It's like I'd want to touch it, but I feel like also I'd want to use like gloves or something too myself, but we'll see. I mean, honestly, the boxes seem like one of the coolest items to me. Like again, all of the different artifacts and stuff too are super, but like for whatever reason, like that seems like the most interesting thing to me, of which of course you'd want to try to do the puzzle boxes and sliding and all that, but the same time, I feel like I'd want to keep it safe. I mean, I know my kids like put anything in arm's reach or if a chair's reach, it's done.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like I always say if I find one of these boxes, the one thing I want the most is the actual box. Like
Mhm.
that's forever going to be like in a display case or something on my mantle, just
Yeah.
for memories every time I walk past it to just to remember that amazing experience.
Yeah. Because even some of the hunts that are going on around here, like smaller hunts, I feel like those, like, yeah, you get like cash prizes or something like that, but it's always like the accomplishment knowing that you found it or solved it and, the medallion or the coin or whatever piece. Like to me, that seems, it's the thrill of the hunt, as cliche and stuff, like that portion, the memories.
All right, so I feel like we need to read this comment after our prior discussion. There are 14 states with two time zones in them, just to get these out
Mm.
there.
Okay.
Florida, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Tennessee, Kansas, Nebraska, North and South Dakota, Texas, Idaho, Oregon, Alaska, and Nevada. So there we go. That's all of
Nice. Oregon. There we go. It's solved.
I mean, again, I think Nevada has favorable tax status. So
Fair.
if it's past and future, I'm going Nevada then.
Mm.
Texas is great for taxes, but I don't think a box is here, sadly.
Yeah.
Todd wants to know if he can pay a subscription to you, Habeas, instead of ChatGPT. I think he likes your answers are better, I think.
I think I probably hallucinate more than ChatGPT.
I don't know. I've got some answers from ChatGPT that I'm like, I don't know about that one, guys. All right. So, anybody have any more questions from the chat out there that we need to talk about? Let me see if we've missed any.
Matthew, while he's looking at that, what do you think of the Michael Jordan chapter? What do you think the clue is there?
Ooh, Michael Jordan. Um, I I mean, I really like the triangle numbers portion. I think him talking about the highs and lows throughout the chapter, I've personally liked those being a triangle or triangulation station, which is like different surveying areas. So to me, that's kind of what I put within it all. But there's also so much too, like the card itself, how much in detail he talked about the cards and things. But to me, like I I have generally put more stock into the things that JCB could just write over like some of the historic value things. Although I think there's totally area for there. Like I've been working on I've like copied the text into like a spreadsheet and have been like using that to be able to highlight without ruining a book and stuff. And I try to highlight all the points where it's like this is just JCB writing whatever the heck he wants versus here this feels like historic facts. And I've typically put more weight on where he has said stuff. So like that whole story, he could have made up that entire basketball story, the scores, everything, versus some of the things like in Jackie Onassis or even some of the more fact portions. But I guess going back to it, like the triangle numbers has got me hooked, I feel. So like certainly that the bench and that weird phrasing where he like looked down the bench and called me up or whatever that was, and then even be cool like Jordan. To me, it kind of talked about there's going to be elevation, which I mean, again, there's a lot of other chapters that kind of talk about elevation change or the mountains and ranges, things like that. But that was what I've taken as the strongest clue with the quotes.
No, that's
So
cool. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I gotta ask you, like when JCB did his last Q&A, Megan and I were just tearing apart chapters. Like we thought there were like 30 clues, 40 clues in each chapter, like we're shredding these things, like breaking down every sentence. Then he comes out at the last Q&A and says, "Yeah, there's maybe one or two clues per chapter." And like we were both like ready to throw our books and scream. Like what were your thoughts? Were you in the same boat as us, or were you at the one or two per chapter?
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's a lot more than I thought it would be. So, I mean, that was again, when I went read through it, I feel like there was like two or three chapters, like I kind of mentioned, like I don't know if there is anything in here actually. It seems, and again, that's probably my perspective of he's not using the historical events as much, which again, on reflection here, it's like he totally could. I mean, he could totally take any little thing, and it's like you were saying, you can go word for word, sentence to sentence, and it's like, does that mean something? Like Jackie Onassis worked at the Vikings press. Did he intentionally say that because Vikings are Minnesota? Like you can get so small into it, especially when you're trying to find a certain thing. But a case. So when he said that, it helped with me at least for the framework. At least we know what we're working with now. Like it's unfortunate if you had hundreds, but at least you know now. Like that helps. Same for like all you need is the map. Like dang it, or like that's mo primarily all you need kind of thing. It at least gives us a little bit less to worry about, which in some ways is nice, but also even more confusing and frustrating.
So how many do you think are in the small box chapters that apply for the lion's share?
I am more on the camp of none. So, I mean, he says anywhere in the books, but with the ebook, it, and I guess that would be a question I would love you guys to tell him once when, you get him on your interview and when you're asking and stuff, is is there an advantage to have the ebooks versus the physical? I mean, we know that he was intentionally with the physical, and but when he split it like that, to me, feels like you don't need them, or I guess rather it would be the clue you get if you find one of the boxes, if that, or maybe the coins, but I don't know. That's I think also just for me to not have to worry about them as much either. Nothing else. I think you could solve it without them, but it could certainly still have some, like you were saying. Where are you at? Like a few or
Well, I mean, specifically for Pokemon, um, when that was all I was working on.
mm,
Everything was for Pokemon. And then when Jaws and I started working to try to narrow down the lion's share, we were finding things in our area, buffalo, for instance,
yeah.
there's prominent buffalo information in our area. And we're like, wow, what if that was never Pokemon? Like, what if
Yeah.
we shouldn't be, looking in the BNR or not looking in the BNR just based off of Pokemon or just based off of a buffalo? And so it pretty much just makes me insane is where I'm at on that.
Yeah. It would be curious too. Like I'm just thinking of when he gives clues, like someone finds it and either one of the laminated for the one person, but then I think he was saying he was going to share something to everyone. Like, could it be something like, and oh hey, this sentence over here, that's actually for the lion share. Like, could it be a clue like that of like we wouldn't know that until he says it, or is it just going to be totally standalone somehow? Or, my thought again was kind of maybe the coin and he gives us something, but it could totally be something like that too. Like, oh yeah, in the buffalo, I meant that's part for the lion share. Like
Yeah.
that
Hopefully
could be.
whoever finds it. Yeah. So if someone finds it, please just let us know that you absolutely did not need to know anything about Buffalo and you still found the Pokemon box. And then we know, hey, maybe it is a lion's share clue.
Yeah.
As
Oh,
a
hey,
as
I
a
wanted
general, oh, I was just to say real quick, as a general defense mechanism, whenever I can't figure out something with the smaller boxes, I go, oh, that's a lion's share clue.
Me too.
Love it.
Hey, I just want to give a quick shout out to our friend from One Clue Short of a Treasure. Eric just hopped in the chat. Want to
What?
shout him out and say, hey man, big congrats to you. I saw you hit over 7,000 subscribers over the weekend. Awesome feat. So impressed and so deserving. You're such an awesome guy and you deserve it, man. So congrats to you.
Hmm.
And can't wait to see you hit the 10,000 mark because that'll be crazy, man. And we'll all celebrate with you. And then also we have Max in the chat right now. I don't know if y'all saw Max found one of the with one of the coins of the 12 coins that were hidden. Him and his kids just found it this weekend up in South Dakota. So congrats to them too.
They are such an
Matthew,
awesome family.
Yeah.
quick question, another question, Matthew, on
Yeah.
so something I've wrestled with is I said to myself, the treasure book is so big, there's so many pages. It seems logical that JCB would create some kind of structure, formula, something to let us know where in the book a clue is. And it would be consistent, right? Like it wouldn't be
Hmm.
I know he says the thing about the spidey sense and like when something seems off, maybe that's a clue. I feel like there has to be something more formulaic, maybe. Have you given that any thought? Do you have any ideas on like what he could be using to tell us, oh, hey, clue right here?
Yeah. I still like the idea that each treasure box description has something to do with the puzzle at hand. That doesn't necessarily help with your question outside of maybe there are 7 steps to unlock this treasure somehow, which I'm toying with that idea. I personally, like I've kind of mentioned, is like big Venn diagram, but I feel like he has to have some sort of framework, like you're saying. Now, is it 7 steps? Initially, I was thinking that because he's like, the first step is to make a map. And then the second, I'm trying to remember what the detail, it was something with the details. And then I was like, oh, the first time I read, it was like, okay, now he's going to give us step 3 and 4. And then like it just stopped. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's not it. So personally, I feel like there should be, but I guess it wouldn't be outside of the realm that he just has like a hodgepodge of like things that you filter on too. But I don't know. I guess stuff on my list is to try to think about that more and try to put in because there are so many different themes that kind of seem throughout the book. But I still feel like you could make hundreds of themes, I feel. Or like, there are some major ones. Like I feel like there's some sort of math or angle type theme. Certainly music is one that's big on that list. Um, I mean, I feel like there's like historic or like there seems like there's a lot of culture references that he uses, whether or not they all tie in somehow with the invisible thread or something. But it's interesting when you start to say some of those and you notice them. It's just a question then, how do you use these steps? How do you use the roadmap as step one and the details, which I don't know, those are the things that keep me up at night, I guess. So, but
And
hey guys,
shout out to last week, TTI Unofficial, their podcast where they broke down all of their themes that they collected throughout this time. That was amazing. It
Yeah.
looked like it was great for the community. I mean, I listened to him and even if I'm not working solely on the lion's share, hearing them pull it all together like that was
yeah.
great. I think that the tools that they used on that we should be using for all the boxes. That system is incredible. So shout out to them. They did a great job last week.
Yeah, that reminded me of like video game tier lists of which champions you should play and stuff. But yeah, it was super helpful to see like the themes that, I related or kind of picked up on or like, oh, I didn't really, and then listing all of them. That was great. I feel like after he did the interview of 50 clues, spreadsheet and then try to just list if there's something that I think could be a clue. And then just, I mean, but it's not organized, is the thing. So it's like, I think that, or organizing your thoughts in some way, I feel like JCB with such a large book has to have some sort of structure like that.
Structure.
But
So, so the only one that I've been able to come up with, I don't know if it's right or not, but it sort of makes sense to me, is he's got a big X on the front and the back of the book,
mhm,
right? And we know that a lot of the pictures that he's created in the book have little X's throughout, right? And so then it got me thinking, like, well, maybe it's X marks the clue, and so wherever you can kind of create an X in the wordplay, you might find clues there. Wherever you can find an X in a picture, you might find a clue there, and things like that. So here's an example. Again, I don't know if this is right or not, but like take the Michael Jordan chapter. He talks about middle grade instead of middle school. And so since you sort of teach that area, it seemed odd to me that middle grade is not a phrase that I see used a lot, but he used it a couple
yeah,
times. And then it's a graded card on the chapter of Michael Jordan. And so I was like, oh, well, what is the middle grade considered on this, rating system? And it's excellent. And I was like, oh, so maybe he's saying middle grade to draw us to an excellent. Maybe that's the area of the text that would contain a clue. And I've noticed that throughout the rest of the book, anytime I come across like an exclaim or a,
mm,
I don't know what the other ones are, but you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like any EX word, my spidey sense goes off and says, okay, well maybe this is another X marks the clue.
We
Yeah,
need Stacy Toon to get us
I was
a
gonna
whole
say.
list like that.
Yeah.
That's an assignment for you, Stacy.
Yeah, just thinking that. That's an interesting thought though. And what X is, would it be the 24th letter of the alphabet? Sorry.
Have to sing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Well, I
think
was gonna
that's
say
right.
Z there. I don't know why I teach guys, but I'm like, is it 27, 26, 26, and then do math. Takes me a second, but I'm trying to think if there's 24. There's 24 in a few places. Not to say 24 means X, but that is an interesting like you were saying, like a framework of here's
Yep.
and that would be a pretty major structure, but also makes sense and is relatively simple. Simple, sorry, gotta get my quotes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
the way Jaws and
well,
I broke down the like first part, how we were pulling out clues, and in a spreadsheet. I don't even own a computer, so we have notebooks, and we were
Yeah.
breaking down each chapter, and like you speak earlier about working backwards. I read the book backwards as I work, so I was going, from small boxes to the throughout to the beginning. And so I was breaking down the chapters on the notebook pages and, writing down every word that seemed out of place, every number that showed up. And then we were comparing it. Now, when we go to the next chapter we're working on, does this same word or a synonym, antonym show up that matches it? And is this number also a match in this chapter? And as you work, like you find you're able to break it down to like, okay, well, 40 is in every chapter. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a highlighted number, and this word shows up every chapter. And so I think structural wise, if we got our stuff together, if we just pull it all together,
Yeah.
we would be a lot closer. But your picture, when you talked about the picture, seeing the two letters in the door frame, I saw a roadway when I looked at
Mm,
those letters connected. And so I
yeah.
don't know how we would ever come to a consensus, even if we had it broken down in that depth.
Yeah. It's I feel like the using AI images or things like that, or just the writing style is one that like it's so vague. Like it's AI proof, if you will, but at the same time, it's like so many things that like totally can see that. Like even okay, do you guys call it the purple image instead of the pink image for Pokemon?
yeah,
Purple.
Yeah.
Purple? The
yeah.
most of it I feel like is like a whitish pink. Anyway, okay. Well, that was one of my questions for you guys is pink. Like, I mean, like look, this is purple, right? And then this is pink. I should
You can't
ask.
ask Jaws. Jaws is colorblind, so he
Oh,
can't
I'm
see
Oh,
anything
sorry.
in the picture.
Well, you should just agree with me then. I'm your guest. Come on.
It's just a smear of a picture for me. I'm like, hey Megan, what's this thing right here?
No, that's fair. But in any case, I feel like the images you can make so many things that totally look and make sense, but then it's like how. And I've tried as much as I can to find some sort of pointer to that. And I guess to your point, Megan, I mean that chapter had the like look both ways before crossing, I believe, in chapter 9. So that could be look for a road in the AI image and be a kind of a pointer to that. But
All right, so we're getting short on time. I don't know if you ever watch us. We have our one question we ask every single guest. So it's time to put you on the spot. Can you share a funny or embarrassing story that's happened to you while you were out boots on the ground?
oof. Well, I mean, I have one time that I went boots on the sort of boots on the ground, if you will. So I went to the spot that I was hoping to look at. I ended up the night before, it was my wife and I, we kind of did like a school's out for summer celebration, go out. Um, and for whatever reason, when we got there, I have self-diagnosed myself with a lower respiratory infection. It's just basically really hard to breathe. So I'm like, well, I should not go all the way up and back down. But anyway, we were going through the town and it was, I mean, I like to hike and this was like an elevated thing, but we were just walking through the town and it was like I was walking so slow and so like I'm sure people thought I was looking in pain, which maybe isn't as funny, but like people just like going way past us on like a very easy walking path, and I'm just like, ugh, this hurts. So I guess that's not very funny though, but that was my boots on the ground, which was I look pathetic and
You have plans of getting back out there soon, and for which box?
lion's share, and I hope so. I mean, I feel like from your guys' dedication of like it's roughly 4 to 5 hours from where I live of for a drive. I don't bel I don't believe in flying, or rather I avoid it as much as I can. Um, yeah, the
I don't
recycled
fly.
air,
Thank you. Thank you for being on my team.
yes, and it's pink image, right? Not just kidding. Almost got
Matthew,
you.
what I'm just curious, why don't you fly?
The recycled air, I feel like
Okay.
every time I go there, it just tastes gross. I don't know. I don't like that. I also just like space. Like I don't like being constrained in areas, and I know that's opposite of like driving and things too, but just the lack of
Okay,
control.
you could
Yeah.
say it. You need a private plane, and then you're fine.
Yeah. There we go. Find the
Okay.
treasure, get a
All right.
private plane,
So you're not
done.
anti-air. You just want private travel.
Yeah, it
Okay.
makes me extra anxious, and it's like I would rather drive, 30 hours someplace if it was just me. I mean, with the kids, it's that I would not want that, but
Well, hey, step one to amazing wealth: get yourself a really fancy watch, and then the plane will follow. I bet.
yes.
Declare it. Declare your future with buying the watch.
Manifest it.
Yep.
I, I just know the one thing I'm really glad of is that Habeas hasn't been like name dropping brands because we'd probably get flagged by YouTube for having an endorsement or something.
Mm,
But we do all like time as an unbreakable thread.
yeah.
All right, so we're coming up short on time. Man, Matthew, we didn't get to talk about half of the treasure inside. There's treasure inside stuff I thought we would.
Yeah.
Uh, I think if you're cool with it, maybe we can have you back on a future date and we can get more deeper into it.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to talk some Pokemon with you because I know you're big into it too.
Yeah, same. I mean, even if we can do the one, I mean, could it be up in a tree, 7 feet? I already got
Or
no's.
I think
or
we can't start the walk
Okay.
unless there's an oak tree. So
And then that's where the treasure is. And then you do a full
yep.
circle, get right back to it. It's right up there. Easy.
right at the
Done. No.
beginning.
Uh,
All right. Well, that's going to be it for us tonight, guys. Matthew, thank you so much for coming on. We're definitely going to have you back to talk more. There's treasure inside in the future because
yeah.
this was some awesome conversation and lots more to talk about.
Yeah.
Hey, Habeas, Megan, any parting things you want to get out there?
You all will just wish my daughter good luck and that this baby comes out
Yeah.
soon, so we don't have to do another podcast like this. She's
Hey,
already been 2 weeks of our podcast in control of.
but at least now you get the award for the coolest background in the history of our podcast. So you
So,
did
I
win
know.
that.
Maybe my
And
friend will tune in to hear us say that.
and everyone, if you haven't yet, Habeas put out a new video on the purple or pink book picture, whatever we want to call it now.
Pink.
Make sure you go check that out. I haven't got a chance to watch it. It just came out yesterday, so I'm super excited to go check that out as soon as we're done here. Everybody, thanks for tuning in tonight. Happy hunting out there and have a good night.
Yeah. Take care.
All right, we are off live.
Nice.
Nice.
I
Yeah.